Alright then, so welcome to the fourth episode of this week. And there's a bit of a related theme. Yeah, commonality is the theme. We've had Christianity over different centuries, and we've had a musician. Yeah, we've had a musician, and we're going to talk about another musician, Bob Marley. Rather, his father, because Bob Marley's family background is quite interesting, and so I'm not sure if there's many. There's like massive, like there's majority Bob Marley fans out there in my audience, but yeah. So not sure if you. I like to watch crime stuff, investigation stuff, medical stuff, and I went through a phase of watching the series Autopsy. Some really good stuff on there. Some almost Dr. G level kind of disturbingness and intrigue with what can happen to people and what can go wrong. So on the Autopsy, last hours of Bob Marley, it went into his family background. Long story short, his father, Norval Sinclair Marley, who there's different sources. He was either born in Jamaica born in somewhere in England, and grew up in Jamaica, or I went there later, or I was pretty much just almost practically born and raised there in Jamaica as a white Jamaican man. Either way, so genetics is more or less what doomed Bob Marley. And when I was watching the episode, I found out that because the interviews like biographers and stuff like that on the show, that his dad didn't really just abandon the family. I mean, he was barely present in his life anyway, because he was like a bit of a drifter type, I guess. Was away at sea a lot or something like that, or said he was. And he also liked to play up the whole he'd been in the military kind of thing, but apparently that's supposed to be. Technically, he did those things, but he wasn't like a big hero, like like little Bob probably thought he was, at least growing up, because he died when Bob Marley was very young, like 10, little ish, 9, 10, and nobody knew why for ages. But it turns out he died of cancer in his 70s somewhere, and his son was even more unlucky because, well, obviously he died young, more or less, young man, still prime of his life. I think, well, wasn't he like not even barely 40, maybe? I can't remember, but basically he inherited some kind of skin cancer from his dad. Dad died, and basically, I think Bob found out how he died early-ish on, but he didn't really think he'd be able he'd suffer from it, because either, well, people get lazy with like sun protection and stuff like that. I know I do every now and again, because I have a theory that freckles have some kind of sun protection, but quite limited probably. Yeah, he wasn't as melanatedly protected against the sun as like the rest of his the majority of like the rest of his like mum's family and all the rest of it. So he had more of a chance of getting cancer, like skin cancer, because of it's Jamaica basically, and he's out there, and he's like one of the most influential Rastas ever. Through and through Rasta Jamaican. Oh, it was always outside, always being social, smoking outside. His studio, I think, was partly outside too. So then, somehow, yeah, I think he made a statement of not liking shoes. So he got some kind of the skin cancer gene. It manifested in his big toe, and it spread. People had loads of theories for what killed Bob Marley. Was he assassinated by, um, a Jamaican prime minister, president, whatever they call him, Michael Manley, because there's rumors that around the time there was some kind of political uprising, anarchy thing in Jamaica in late 60s, maybe early 70s, something like that. There were protests, gunfire, and everything like that. That Michael Manley approached Bob Marley about, oh, do you want to get involved or say your thoughts on the on what's going on in the country? And Matt Marley was very adamant that he didn't. I think, like Kurt Cobain, he didn't want his music to become part of some tool or whatever. With Kurt Cobain, he was depressed over um, Nirvana's music being mainstream and boring, and you know just all about the money. And Bob Marley refused to make his music be involved in any kind of political statement, just because he's a fellow countryman to Michael Manley. So there was that kind of thing, and poisoning and stuff, but it was just simple fact that um, he he let the cancer spread, and because sad thing really, could have saved his own life. If he just had his toe chopped off, he probably would have lived longer. He wasn't the healthiest person in the world, which is part of the other theories, because he smoked constantly. Probably smoked as much as my great granddad, if not more. Then he managed to live to his 70s, so what do I know? Um, I mean, granted, he looked about 100. That's what it does to you. Drinking, smoking, too much shit like that. Um, but yeah, it was something to do with he was afraid of the possibility that he'd lose his fans, and friends would turn his back on him just because he might have had to hobble around noticeably on stage. But I doubt it would have changed much. So yeah, that was the quite fascinating, but quite really sad fact about the Marley father and son. So yeah, usual case. Blah blah blah. I'll be doing the next week. For fun facts with Liam, so stay tuned, and I'll come up with some new ones. I've sort of got some couple of ones in the pipeline, but I'm not going to tell you, because that's part of the fun of the mystery. Not naming the episodes so much, but actually uploading the thumbnails and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to cut it off. There's nothing much else to say. So I'll see you all next week.